You're live.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us for this live stream tonight. My name's Dave. I'm the head of creative at the Children's Society. So tonight is a bit unusual for us. We've not done this before, so bear with us. But I'm hosting this evening along with Sean and Steve from Central St Martins. And usually if we were doing this in person, I'd be telling you about fire exits and all that kind of stuff, but we don't get to do that tonight. So I think I'll start with just a little bit of information about how this next 45 minutes is going to pan out. You'll hear a bit from me, hear a little bit about the Children's Society, and then I'll pass over to Sean to say a few things. And then when Sean's finished, we'll screen the first set of films. So that'll be for about 20 minutes or so. Then we'll take a short break, about 10 minutes. And then we'll show the second set of films. And then Steve's going to wrap things up at the end and close the show, as it were, for us. You're on YouTube. You should be able to see comments boxes. Please feel free to drop comments in that section. We want to congratulate all of the animators and everything they've done for us on this project. So feel free to say lovely, lovely things to people in the comments boxes. So as I said, yeah, I'm Dave. I'm head of creative at the Children's Society. I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about the charity. You might not know too much about us. And a little bit about the partnership that we've developed with Central St Martins. And then I'll say a few thank yous at the end before I finish up, and then pass to Sean to say what he wants to say. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Children's Society. I've been at the Children's Society for 7 years, so I'm paid up, passionate member of staff at the Children's Society. We're a national charity. We've been mostly working in England, but we do some work in Wales now as well. Our primary work centres around young people who face abuse, exploitation and neglect. Kids who are having a really hard time, really serious life challenges. So that might be young people who've been sexually abused. That might be young people who've been manipulated by gangs or being used by adults who are exploiting them. It might be young refugees who've arrived in the country and no one else to help them. It could be young people who are living in poverty or in families where their siblings or their parents maybe even have drug or alcohol problems. It might be that we're supporting young carers. There's a whole host of different young people who really need us that we help. So there's a big spectrum of stuff that we do. We really do a lot of different things for lots of different young people. And as I said, the young people that we help, they're having the hardest time. They're having a really, really hard time. And we believe that it's really vital for those young people to have hope for a better future, to boost their self-esteem and their belief. So that's what we do. We're all about giving or helping young people find that hope. So a huge part of what we do is frontline services. So by that I mean we put project workers, we put advocates, we put counsellors in local communities for face-to-face, one-to-one meetings with young people. And we work with those young people where they live. But we also do a huge amount of campaigning and lobbying work. So, for example, very recently we had a big campaigning win around school uniforms. So there's a change in law about affordable school uniform, which we've been working on for about 7 years, and that's become law today. So that's a really good result for us. So there's a real mixture of work that we do, but it's primarily, as you say, frontline work with young people one-to-one, but also campaigning and lobbying work to try and get politicians to look after young people a little bit better. Why do we do it? Every young person that we help has got hope that their life can get better inside them somewhere. We really think that hope is there in young people. Lots of people don't see that hope. Sometimes even young people themselves don't see it. But our job is to see it, and we do see it, and we fight for it. And we're passionate about getting that hope out for young people, because we have to bring that hope out of them, and we have to protect that hope and strengthen that hope so that it's alive in every young person that we support, however we support them. Because when young people don't have hope, their well-being suffers. We know young people's well-being is on the decline. It's been on the decline for a really, really long time. But we truly believe at the Children's Society that if you give a little bit of hope to young people, that they can turn all of that around. We can help make sure that their lives become better and their well-being increases, and they have hope for the future, and they have prospects and opportunities that come out of all of that. So, there's one small thing that we can do, which sounds small but is actually huge. It's giving young people that hope that you know, even though they're having a really terrible time now, there is always a chance of something better. And that's what we do in a nutshell. We try to give young people hope, or bring that hope out in them. That's enough about us, because I don't want to labour on it, because I want us all to focus on these films today. I won't labour on the ins and outs of the partnership. I think Sean might say a little bit about that. But what I will say is that we love this partnership. We love the way that we work. We love working with you guys. I think this is our 4th year now. We're working with animation students from Central St Martins. You're going to see 33, I think, animated films that we've made. We've now got more than 100 that have been made over the last 3 to 4 years by students from CSM, and they're all brilliant. And we love doing this with you, because it's a partnership that brings so much value for us, because it brings to life the experiences of young people and it lets us tell their story in ways that, you know, just writing them down or someone talking to camera really can't do. You bring something completely new and completely different to telling stories of young people. So we thank you for that. Where do we use these films? We use them on our website. We use them on our social channels. We use them in presentations to really, really important people. We use them to try and get people to give us money. We use them in conversations with politicians. So many ways that we use these films, as much as we possibly can. And ultimately what that means is, what these films do is they help us raise money, they help us change laws, they help us win service contracts, they help us influence government. They are really, really powerful for us, and we massively value them. So I hope, and that's an intentional pun, that the films you're about to watch show how hope can be found in the darkest places of young people. There should be a theme coming through them, I hope, that you will see. And hopefully that you can see that when it's embraced and nurtured and allowed to burn brightly, then young people will prosper. I will say once again, as I say every year, but once again, the students have done a really brilliant job. Sean and Steve have steered you guys amazingly again. So I'm going to stop talking and let Sean speak in a second, but I'm going to finish with just a huge thank you to all of you. A huge thank you to every single animator. A huge thank you to Sean. A huge thank you to Steve. A huge thank you to Rachel, who works for me, who's been working with you guys on this project. It's such an important project for us. We're blown away by your creativity again. You've taken audio from real young people that we've supported, and you've done such wonderful things with it. Thank you again so much. It really is just brilliant what you guys do for us. So I think that's enough of me. I will pass over to Sean. So thank you once again to all of you animators, and Sean, I think you're up now.
Right, you should be able to hear me now. I think I was classic on mute there. My name is Sean Clark. I'm the course leader of MA Character Animation over at Central St Martins. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the partnership and obviously the production as well of these FETS-free films that you're going to see this evening. Just to give you a little bit of an indication about how they was made, basically the animators receive an audio track, a 1-minute audio track, which has been compiled by Rachel from the Children's Society into a narrative based on interviews with the young people. So the animators take the soundtrack, come up with a story, a way to visualize these audio tracks and to bring these stories to life. They then go through a process of pre-production work, which involves making storyboards, making animatics, designing the characters, and then finally, obviously, animating the characters as well. And these films can be made in so many different ways. We're talking about 2D drawn animation, CGI animation, and also stop motion animation, and a combination of all of them together. So there's so many, you've got a visual treat this evening to see so many different techniques on show. The films took about 3 months to make from start to finish. Quite a quick process, quite a quick turnaround. The animators did incredibly well. So I hope you enjoy the films this evening. Before I go, I'd like to just thank a number of people, Rachel and Dave at the Children's Society, and everybody in the Children's Society team. Thanks ever so much for all your hard work and the collaboration as well. you know, with the animation team here at CSM. You know, just an amazing amount of work that's been done to bring this project to life. Big thanks to everyone at Central St Martin's, obviously my colleague Steve, Kevin, Anita, Vanessa, Mike, who else have I got? Fred, Paul, everyone, the performance program, the administration team, you know, the full staff at Central St Martin's is so integral to the students' education, and also, you know, enabling them to really explore their skills and develop their animation skills while they're at Central St Martin's. So a big thank you to everyone at CSM. Also, you know, these films would not be possible if we didn't have the stories from the young people. So, you know, thanks ever so much for sharing these stories with us and allowing the animators the opportunity to make films from your stories and from your life stories. So yeah, thanks ever so much. Finally, thanks to all the animators. Incredible amount of work that's gone into the films that you're about to see. You know, dealing with really delicate stories, you know, with sensitivity, and also, you know, just bringing such wonderful stories to life. It's, you know, it's a really joy to see these films come to life, and the animators have done an exceptional job. So I would like to start the first screening, the first program of the screening this evening. Thanks ever so much, everyone.
My advice would be that once you define your self-worth, no matter like what anybody says, it can't affect you. Like, your self-worth doesn't decrease just because somebody doesn't think you're worth something. And genuinely, like, once you like love yourself, or you find this like confidence within you, no matter like what anybody says, you'll be happy with your life. You'll genuinely reach happiness.
So I was identified as a young carer at about the age of 13, 14 when my mum got ill. She's got chronic fatigue syndrome, and I would just start helping out around the house a bit more and with my little sister, because she was about 2 at the time. There were times where I experienced isolation. These were mainly not being able to interact with others as much, so I might not be able to leave the house as much, or understand what my friends were on about, or why they wanted to do things and I was just too busy, or just didn't have the same interests or anything just because I was too busy. If other young carers are experiencing isolation, I would say to try and reach out to their projects and to their families, and to say that they do need the support if they are struggling, and that there is help available. Things like therapy and everything like that, which is quite good to try and do.
I feel like people are most worried about the environment, to be honest. It's all over the news, it's all over social media. You know, everyone's posting this stuff. They post like stuff in like 50 years, all the polar ice caps will melt. It's true. Like, on the trajectory that we're going in. And it might affect us in the future. It'll definitely affect our children, especially our grandchildren, if we have grandchildren. The world might end because of this, honestly. and we gotta do something if we want human life to keep going.
I think the world should open up and try to help people with mental health a lot more than they already do, because there is very limited support, especially once you pass the age of 18. There's very, very little support left. It's helped me just knowing there's someone I can talk to whenever I need to. If I'm feeling down, there's somewhere I can go to talk to someone. It's helped me be able to grow and deal with and understand that I'm not the only person that feels like this. Just don't give up, keep fighting no matter how dark things may seem, just keep looking for the light.
When they started using the universal credits, they stopped payments for a while. Some people had to apply for a certain loan, and that month or that 2 months or how many a length of time could be enough to make someone homeless. It could be enough to financially cripple somebody. It's not only the financial part we need to take care about, it's also the mental part. I think this Scroogian way of thinking is rather detrimental to those that need help, because they have to quickly, not just deal with it, but quickly, as fast as the wind, or they're going to fall. We're just putting too much pressure on poor people, and we're not giving them a break at all. So it's either they're going to get a break or they're going to break.
In the past, I was too down, more likely depressed, and I just thought there's no way to get back happy again. But thanks to Children's Society, they taught me how to get back up. When you fall down, you gotta get up, brush dust off and try your life continuing. You can't quit. When people make you sad, you always gotta get back up. But if you can't get back up, we'll be there to pick you back up. Or if there's no way, Children's Society could be the ones to lift you back up on your feet and then continue making you run.
It's amazing to see, how far I've come, because there was a time where I wasn't able to go a 20-minute drive down the road, never mind a 4-hour train journey, and it makes me sort of hope that in the future I won't have those fears anymore, and it won't be that I've forgotten about the anxiety, but it'll hopefully just be a distant thing that has slowly sort of built my confidence up. Without that, there's a possibility that I wouldn't be the same person. I wouldn't be able to understand getting through it. It's sort of like something that gives you more experience, sort of a thing. And I know that my family is proud of me as well, because they tell me quite frequently.
If I could give my younger self words of advice, I'd tell her that she isn't on her own and she's not faking it. She's not okay, and she needs to realize that she's not okay and accept that. And that's okay to not be okay. And no one has to be perfect and happy all the time, because then you're not really a human, are you? You're just a robot. Robots don't feel anything, but humans feel everything and anything. So I definitely tell her that she needs to talk to someone and she's okay, or eventually will be okay. I don't imagine being better at all if I didn't have the help that I've had, because I didn't see the point in it. I didn't feel like I needed help, or that I wanted help, or that I even deserved help. But I feel like I'm finally my own person again, and I can control myself, and I can get rid of all the bad things in my life. And it feels so good to have all this weight lifted off my shoulders, because I don't know why. I was being dragged down all my life, and I just didn't notice it. And then when I finally came here, it just all got took away from me.
I didn't have a really good upbringing. Like, my mum was always out partying. Like, I was basically, from being born to 6, I was always doing everything. Like, I didn't have anything. And then when I moved to foster care, I found it very difficult, because it was such a change, because I was used to being in control of everything. I was looking after my mum and like doing all the things that little kids shouldn't do. So like I lost a lot of confidence then. But ever since being with my new foster carers 2 years ago, it's just built, and like they are the most important people, because they're the ones that make me me. They've put the confidence in me, they've put a good self-esteem in me, and they're just that important. Like having that family around me to know that I am wanted, I am there, which is really nice.
I'm in supported living because the relationship broke down with my parents in the family home, which meant that I was then left homeless. So I was living in hotels for a week, and I had to change a hotel every night. I was then a week later placed in a young people's homeless shelter, and that's where I'm still living. The thing that young people need the most is stability and a single caseworker or point of contact, and not to be passed around from organisation to organisation, and for them to tell you that you're each other's problem. If you have offers of support, take it both hands. So you'll get to a point where you are on your own and nobody wants to help. So while things are being offered, particularly while you're under 18 and a young person, take everything.
I'm optimistic about a lot of things. I think I'm just one of those people who just look at the good things. I'm an optimistic person in general. It's just like, okay, what am I excited about? Doing my own stuff. I can like, when I'm older, I can just like do whatever I want. I feel like today is one of the best times to be alive, in fact, because we have all this like technology, social media. Do you know how easy it is to start your own thing now? Like just post a few videos, and then if people start watching it, we can reach like millions of people just off doing this with the phone. Like, we've never had this before. People back in the day had to like, oh, you either have it or you don't. You have the connections or you don't. Now we can make the connections, just DM someone. The opportunity that we have now is amazing.
My life before the Children's Society, I wouldn't even consider it a life. I would try to stay in the house as much as possible. I'd refuse to go to school, or I would pretend to be sick so I wouldn't have to go. And it wasn't healthy, and I could feel myself getting worse to the point where I did want to take my life, but I was way too scared to do it. Probably would be dead by now without the Children's Society. When I first came, I didn't believe it would help. But I was just doubting so many different things. I was so terrified. I was terrified of getting better for some reason. And then when I came here, I was like, okay, I think I can get used to this, and I think it will help. And then as the sessions went on, I was noticing a big change, whether it was I could look at myself in the mirror again, or talk to a new person. and it did help so much. And like I can fully say that I am better now, and that I'm very proud of what I've done.
Never take other people's problems onto you, because I've learned a lot like over the years, because I've suffered a lot with depression from it, and when I take other people's problems onto myself, it really takes a toll on me, and it makes me feel a little bit worse about myself, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like myself as much as I should, but it's probably the one lesson that I've learned over the years, and I still struggle with it, of course. But hey, it's gotten better over the years.
The process of being excluded, I personally think is not like a good process, because you miss out a lot of time being in school. And for me, before being excluded, I got in ISO for like almost a month. The way also schools are handling young children and excluding them for like really silly things, instead of sitting down talking to them about the situation, making them learn from different places. If they do get excluded, it's just like if they did it again, they did it on purpose, and they like if they do it again, that's like when they exclude them because they really did do something wrong then. But if it's like before, like they're still learning, they still need to know like what to do, what's right and what's not right, like need to be taught that learning is making mistakes. If teachers taught children how to behave, because like we're still children, we're still learning, like we're not just gonna know like that. Like instead of just getting told what to do, instead of being taught, it would be a lot more better instead of just punishing them.
It's so important to speak out about how you're feeling. If you are suffering, it is crucial to tell someone, because if you leave it to yourself and you bottle it up, it's going to build up and it's going to get worse throughout the months, years, days and so on. If you've let it out and you've told someone, I wouldn't say it's out there, someone knows about it. So if you are in danger, that person can tell someone else or help you in general. If there's any other advice, I would say is take care of yourself. It's so important to take care of yourself. Helping you as a person will help anything else.
Everyone's got potential inside of them, and they just need to work out how to unlock that potential, because everyone's amazing at some sort of thing and they just need to try and embrace that. I think one of my biggest strengths is trying to spread a good message, because if everyone's always just thinking on the bad, then they'll never notice the good, but the good is what makes life worth living. The world would be completely different if everyone just looked on the good side of things.
When I first started being a carer, I was 7. The person who I care for just also happens to have some issues with alcohol. Seeing your parent get to the state where they are that drunk that they then take their frustration and anger and their feelings out on you, that has such a negative impact on your mental health and your self-esteem. I'd blame me for what my mum was going through, because so much is put on me, like the pressure of having to run a house, do the finance stuff, do the shopping and all that stuff, and then you've got the worry of, is she okay, is mum fine, how's she coping with it? Then I don't become the priority anymore. I take a stand back and I have to put everything else that that parent should be doing, I, the child, then has to do. The roles are reversed. When you need help, just don't be afraid to ask for it. There is genuinely someone out there who cares.
Some of the challenges I've faced as a young carer is probably my own mental health, because obviously being a carer, you always get told, oh, how's the person you care for, or how's this, how's that. It's never how are you. I was angry that no one was listening to me, no one kind of understood what was going on inside my head, and as well as what was going on in my life. I was the girl that was a carer, but no one cared for the carer. And a lot of young carers feel like they're being neglected in the system because no one's caring about them, they just are there to care for someone else. I sit on the Ministerial Steering Oversight Group for Carers, so I am basically the voice of young carers nationally. If the right support was in place for every young carer, I feel like every young carer would have the mindset that they can achieve whatever they want in the future, like no matter their caring role or no matter what's going on in their life or behind closed doors right now, they have the opportunity to achieve their dreams.
I was in primary school and all the kids were like going out and they were like going out with their friends and going around their friend's house, but I couldn't because I was caring for my mum and making sure that like everything's okay at home. And so I felt so lonely and I felt like I had no one to talk to. I think there isn't enough support out there for people because people focus on the people who are physically hurt. They don't really care or they don't really notice about the people who are mentally hurt. It's important for young carers to speak about what they're going through so that people who are hidden young carers can understand that they're not outcasts and that they're welcome in a space where everyone else is going through the same thing. If young people had the right support they needed, I think that the world would be a lot happier place with children being who they wanted to be.
The flying bag is like when you broke something at home and your parents can't and you don't know whether to tell them or not and you just got that big guilt feeling. But once you tell someone, it's like that guilt feeling like grows wings and just flies away. The advice I would give for someone who has the same feeling would be just tell someone and then it'll be over and done with and it won't get bigger and bigger.
The thing that I find most beneficial is like the monthly meetups. It's just a place where we can go and talk because all the people in that room have one thing in common, and that is we care for someone. And it doesn't matter what age they are, how or why they have to care for them, but we all kind of have this mutual understanding that we're all similar. It's made me realise that one, I'm not alone, and that there's other people around my age that's going through a similar thing, and that perhaps more people need to be made aware. There are children who are going unnoticed and like they need the support to speak out and find help and find the guidance that's needed. It does just give you like the sense of belonging. It builds sort of like your self-esteem up because you know that there's more people and that if you need support, there's people there who will listen.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you agreed. They're all brilliant. That's the end of the first half of films. I make it about 7:35 now, so shall we all come back at 7:45? I'm going to go get myself a cup of tea. By all means, do the same. Come back, and then we'll show you the rest from 7:45. So we'll see you in 10 minutes or so. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoy part 2 of the films. Welcome back,
more mainstream and more important than that cat video that was posted on YouTube just a few days ago, or that some YouTubers posted some very controversial video online. You don't go onto the playground in the afternoon and say, oh, that Brexit deal was amazing, wouldn't change it for the world. Or you wouldn't talk about royalty or whatever, or what you think about this MP. British politics today is more of comedy than actual slice of life. If you're not talking about change, and if you're not talking about doing something, what's the point of listening to you? Because you're just talking about something that no one cares about, to be honest.
I want to talk about web designing because I think it is one of the main and most important jobs that is in progress at the present. It grows the creativity of people and it opens their minds up. I studied web design and I enjoy it a lot because while I am creating some websites, I think I'm taking to another dimension. It makes me feel a lot creative, and it still is one of my big dreams and passions, which I think will become a reality in the near future.
I always wanted to be a mechanic. Every college I went to, they didn't accept me because I never had insurance number. And I didn't have anyone to go with me. These people, they take me to college. They put me to course that I love, that I want to be. And they give me a house. They give me clothes. Children's Society got me a bus pass for the years. They got me food vouchers. They never let me being hungry, even if I was homeless. They got me a lawyer because my lawyer was gone. She couldn't deal with my case. They got me a new lawyer. She never let me down, never. She was with me every step I was taking. I can't say it in 2 words, but she was with me all the time.
I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I'd argue I have PTSD, and there's been some frequent panic attacks and stressful sort of situations I've had to drag myself through. My music has been a very big sort of therapeutic release for me, and it's interesting because once I started secondary school and the worst sort of bullying started, I started liking music more, but I also realised I couldn't learn it in a typical way.
But that sort of release was really useful to me, and like the fact that I feel like I can pass that sort of therapy on to other people is really rewarding, I think.
If I had one thing I wanted people to know about young carers, it would be that we're the exact same as everyone else, but we have to care for someone. It's not really that different. If, like, most time people think you're the one that's ill, saying that you can catch a disease that this person might have when they don't have the disease is just, like, a difficulty for something. In the future, I'm most looking forward to, if I live somewhere else, I'd look forward to coming back home and then cook with my mum and then like being able to see if she's getting better, because she's starting to be able to walk without her crutches or wheelchair.
I'm 16, I can't vote, and it really annoys me because all this Brexit's happening and all the older generation, they all voted for Brexit to go back to how the UK used to be, but because we're such a small island now, we don't have all our mining and everything that we used to have, that used to bring in all our money. Because we don't have that, we're going to really struggle. And all our farmers are going to go because of all the housing and everything. So I feel like if we got a chance to vote, I think that there'll be a massive difference because it's our future and not the older generation's future, because they don't have to live through the change when we do.
I say love is the answer. Like, you have to love yourself before others can love you. So I say in everything you do, always think about how you will feel. Like something, do things that are good for you, that will make you feel happy about yourself. Because it all starts with happiness, doesn't it? Before you can actually socialize and expect people to like you, how much you feel your worth is how people are going to treat you. If you feel you're worth a lot, people are going to treat you with the same amount that you think you're worth. Sounds cheesy, but love yourself.
Having like that support, I think it's just really important in everyone's life, because if you're struggling with something and there's no one there for you to speak to, I think it just builds and builds and builds up inside you until the point that you break down. So I think that support there, just you can build that trust with the support so that you can speak to them and you're able to talk and actually let out your emotions. And it's just that sense of security, knowing that nothing's gonna like hurt you, like they're there, they're not gonna let anything happen to you, which is, I think it's just everyone should have like a bit of that in their life, because it's just really important.
My life before coming to Children's Society was really bad. I just felt like I was always down all the time. There's no cure for it, and it felt like there's a monster inside of me. It actually made me down and made me really depressed. But like sometimes I'd feel happy, the rest of the time, no, I couldn't handle it. If I was older and went time travelling, I'd go to my 10-year-old self and say, hey, just let you know, something will make you down in life. But Just stick to reality. Keep on learning. Keep on going to school. Keep on doing everything. And plus, most of all, I'm your older self.
My generation is probably the most engaged within politics that a young generation has ever been. You've got the whole climate change movement that so many young people are getting involved in because they care so much about the planet, because they want a future. Because with the way the world's going, we're not going to have a future. So a lot of young people are passionate about that. You've got the whole Brexit debate, and a lot of young people are passionate about what's going to happen to our future, because okay, politicians are making decisions, but they're not making it for our generation, they're making it for their generation. At the same time, we have a lot of young people not being involved because they can't vote, they can't make an impact, they can't do anything that directly makes a change, so what's the point? So a lot of young people are they're sitting on the fence because they have an opinion, but they don't have the right to voice their opinion. If young people had the opportunity to make a difference by having the right to vote at 16, you'd have people who want to have a heavy impact on their future, as they have the right to change their future as well as the impact to change their future.
I like to think my superpower would be making people laugh or making people smile, because that it means a lot in a way, having obviously people around you smiling, laughing. That sort of takes your mind off everything. All that positiveness gets rid of the negativity, and you can sort of grow in that area. And the more grateful you are for what you have, the happier you'll be later on in life, because it may turn out you'll gain so much more by learning all these things now. And then you can go on to share those lessons with the younger people or even older people around you, because they may not know something you know.
I listen to music when I feel a little nervous. I listen to slow music from my country when I feel nervous, when I feel a little stressed. I feel better afterward. I listen to music from my church. This is relaxed and slow. Listen to music is sometimes better than talking to someone. This is because it is slow and quiet. I listen to music on the bus, walking around the town. I use my phone and listening through headphones. My dream is to join the choir and sing in the church in front of everybody. I would be very proud if I did this.
Hello everyone. Hopefully you can see me now. So yeah, I'm absolutely blown away with all these amazing films that I've seen today, and I'm so proud of you and all what you've all achieved. And I think the one thing to remember about this kind of project is that, you know, someone somewhere is going to see your movie and they're going to say, that's my life, that's what's happening to me, and I need help. And I think that's the most important kind of thing, you know. I think remember that that is what you're going to do with these movies. And I think that's the most important thing, really, you know. So thank you so much for all this amazing work. And I'll see you all tomorrow with how far you've got with your current projects. So thanks everyone for coming, and good night.